Hey guys, what's up? Andrew here, obviously, and I'm back with another collection update video. I got 10 records to show off, and I wanted to show off the shirt that I forgot to. I didn't forget, but I lost it when I did my previous collection update video. I found it, and then I lost it again. So hopefully in the next collection update video, I'll be able to show that off because it's a really cool shirt. Before I get started, obviously it's a new setup. That's because I'm back home. I graduated college. And I'd just like to thank everyone once again for all of the well wishes and the congratulatory messages I got. You know, I got only like a couple from family members, but I got dozens from you guys, and that really is I'm grateful for that. I really am. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. So, like I said, 10 records. The first 5 I'm not going to talk too much about because my brother got them for me from a yard sale. So I don't really have much to talk about, but the other 5 I will talk about. So let's just get started. Okay, first up, I'm just going to start with the yard sale ones so I can get them out of the way first. Willie Nelson, Honeysuckle Rose. I really like Willie Nelson. I think he is probably one of my favorite country artists. So really, really cool to have this. Beautiful, beautiful gatefold. So yeah, I haven't cleaned any of these records or sleeved them really. If they came with a sleeve, then it's on, and if they don't have a sleeve, then they didn't come with a sleeve. So yeah. Next up, Billy Joel with Turnstiles. This is pretty cool. I don't listen to Billy Joel much, but it is a nice album just to put on the background. So, really good condition. Nothing much to say there. Continuing on that trend, Billy Joel Street Survivors. Once again, great condition. Love the texture of it. I don't think I've listened to these two previous. Actually, I don't think I've listened to these 3 albums ever. So it is cool to have them on vinyl, but I just don't have much to say other than another Billy Joel record. Next up, going back to more old country, Kenny Rogers. This is cool. I like Kenny Rogers, so I'm glad I got this. Once again, great condition, which is kind of surprising because most of the records that I see at yard sales are in complete dog shit condition. So the fact that he picked all these up in relatively good condition is pretty cool. And the final one he picked up for me, the one I can talk about at least a little bit, Asia with the debut. So Asia obviously is a supergroup with prog legends in it. You know, Steve Howe, Carl Palmer, John Wetton, Jeffrey Downs. This is a good album. I don't think it's amazing, especially with the talent in it. You'd think it would be phenomenal, but they go into an AOR direction. So, you know, you got the big hits, Heat of the Moment, Only Time Will Tell, and yeah, Soul Survivor. You know, it's a fun. It's it's an 80s rock album. You know, the drums sound like an 80s rock album. The vocals sound like an 80s rock album, which is, I don't know. It's just a shame, really. You know, you got people from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, King Crimson, yes, and they come together to make a pop rock album. So, you know, it is what it is. But I do like that album artwork, done by Roger Dean, of course. So cool nonetheless. But now, let's get to the albums that I can actually talk about. This one, I actually don't want to show that one off right now. Sorry. I'll show this one off. I got this one at The Exchange, which is a couple, it's actually a chain of stores in Pittsburgh. They sell records, old video games. Actually, they sell video games from any generation, all the way from PS4 and Xbox One and PS5, I guess. I forgot that shit even came out. All the way down to like Atari, which is really, really cool. They sell, like I said, they sell records, CDs, tapes, books, figures, whatever. Rush, All the World's a Stage. I'm really happy I have this. Obviously, if you know me, you know that Rush is my favorite progressive rock band, and the Farewell to Kings album is my favorite album of all time, period. So to have this live album in this good of condition is awesome. Obviously, those are the 4 albums that are featured on this live album because it came out in 1976. So the self-titled, Fly By Night, Caress of Steel on 2112. Look at this gatefold. Look how gorgeous this gatefold is. I got this for like $10, so I think that was a steal. As this is a double album, so the songs are Bastille Day, Anthem, Fly By Night, In the Mood, Something for Nothing, Lakeside Park, 2112. I don't know if that's a full playthrough of 2112. It's either a majority of it or the entire thing. By Tour and the Snow Dog, in the end, are on side 3, and they extend those and they improvise, so that those are the only 2 songs on side 3. And then side 4, Working Man, Finding My Way, What You're Doing. So a lot of stuff from the first 2 albums and 2112, and only a little bit from Caress of Steel, which is unfortunate because I really like Caress of Steel, and I think a lot of people hate that album unjustly. Performances are phenomenal, of course. What else would you expect? It's Rush in 1976. Like I've said before, the Kimono era of Rush is probably the greatest era of any band ever. So this is awesome. I'm really, really happy to have this, and I can't wait to get more Rush, because that's the only Rush album I have, and I need more from them. Moving on to another one of my favorite artists. This is not one of my favorite albums by him by any means, but I saw it and I wanted to pick it up because I also got this at the Exchange in a separate visit, and I had in-store credit that I wanted to use before I graduated, so found this. Let's Dance by David Bowie. You guys should know I absolutely love David Bowie. I love a lot of his music. Let's Dance is not an album I particularly love. I think it's okay. I think it's a good album. Of course, the big singles on here, you know, Modern Love, China Girl, the title track, those are all fun. I don't have a problem with those. You know, Criminal World is okay. Cat People is it's whatever. Shake It. This is the famous, well, obviously it's his highest selling album, but it's also the album from him that he famously, Bowie famously quoted, was quoted as saying during the tour of this album and the subsequent album, he would look out into the crowd of people and he would wonder how many people out there had Velvet Underground albums, or at least even heard of them. And he really lost touch, that's his words, not mine, lost touch with his artistic sense. So, yeah, this is a disappointing album, especially coming off of the amazing string of like 6 albums from Young Americans all the way up to Scary Monsters. I think those albums are just awesome. And this is not a bad album. It's not as bad as the next album, the next 2, the next couple, if I'm being real. It's alright. I don't really have much to say about it. It's cool that I have another Bowie album in my collection. I just don't have much to say about it because it's not an album I particularly love, but it's alright. It's alright. Now the next album, the next 3 albums I picked up from Jerry's Records, which is my absolute favorite record store in Pittsburgh. And before I graduated, I was like, I need to go here one more time. So the last 3 records to show off in this video are from Jerry's Records. So this is one of my favorite albums ever. Like top 30, 40. This is a phenomenal record, and I got it at such a cheap price. I do not understand how, but Voyage of the Acolyte by Steve Hackett. Guys, what do I even need to say about this album? First off, I got it for $5, and look at this thing. Look at this thing. It is absolutely gorgeous. So Steve Hackett, of course, is the guitarist, or was the guitarist of Genesis, and this is often regarded as the lost Genesis album because it sounds so much like Genesis. And this came out around the time when they started shifting their sound. Peter Gabriel had just left the band. Peter Collins, Phil Collins stepped up to the lead singer role, and they shifted into more of a, not really prog, but kind of like an art rock, pop rock sound that disenfranchised old Genesis fans, but attracted a whole new group of fans that was much larger than the fans that they were attracting with their old music. So this is pretty much an album for Genesis fans who love that early stuff, like myself. You know, if you're a fan of Nursery Crime, Foxtrot, Selling England by the Pound, that kind of era, you need to hear this album because it's phenomenal. Steve Hackett is a wonderful, wonderful guitarist. His use of the sense of atmosphere that you get with his playing, and he's kind of jazzy. You know, he was tapping in the intro to, I believe, The Return of the Giant Hogweed in Nursery Crime. He was tapping, and that was years before Eddie Van Halen was. I know, obviously, tapping is not a rock thing. It's been a guitar technique for a while. But he's the earliest rock guitarist I can think of at the moment that employed it. So I love his guitar playing, and this album, I mean, not a lot of the songs have vocals. A lot of it is instrumental, which is okay. You know, Phil Collins does do vocals on this album, but only a couple songs. I think 3. They have the lyrics to the 3 songs that have lyrics. Ace of Wands, Hands of the Priestess, Part 1 and 2, A Tower Struck Down, The Hermit, Star of Sirens, The Lovers, and the closing track to end all closing tracks, Shadow of the Hierophant. I hope I pronounced that right. An absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal progressive rock song, and I cannot stress enough how amazing that song is. The female vocals, the way Steve Hackett's guitar, this melody that he plays, it's really, really emotional, but the way it interacts with the female vocals, it's just breathtaking. I cannot stress enough how amazing this album is. I think it's better than a majority of the Genesis albums. I'd say, apart from, I prefer Nursery Crime. Other than that, I'd be hard-pressed to find a Genesis album that I actually like more than this. And that includes Trespass and Foxtrot and, that era. I love this album. I'm so happy to have this in my collection. And when I set up my record player, I haven't even set up my record player yet. I've only been home for, I came home yesterday at late at night. So I don't even have my record player set up. But once I do, this is probably the first album I'm going to spin because this is just phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. Sticking with progressive rock, this is not the album from this band that I wanted to get. There's actually 2 albums from this band that I really, really want. This is neither of them. However, I do think that this is a very underrated album that I wish more people checked out. Going for the One by Yes. Going for the One by Yes is their first album after the kind of hiatus they took after Relayer. They took a hiatus in 1974, and if I were to be completely honest with you, progressive rock changed so much in those 3 years that Yes was, I hate to say it because I love Yes, but Yes was kind of left in the dirt, essentially. And I don't mean that as a negative of Yes. I think they're absolutely phenomenal, and I think they're absolutely one of the greatest progressive rock bands ever. But, it just, the entire progressive rock landscape, it's similar to what happened to Vandergraaf Generator when they took their hiatus and then came back. It's like so much had changed up in those couple of years. Obviously, in a genre such as progressive rock, things would progress. No shit. Going for the One is the Return album, and while I don't think it reaches the heights of some of their earlier classics, like Close to the Edge, which I wish I got, or Yes Songs, which I bring up Yes Songs because that's actually my new favorite Yes album. I re-listened to it a couple weeks ago, and I was completely blown away. So that's probably my favorite Yes album. They had 2 copies of Yes Songs there, but they were beat to shit because, I don't know, people just don't know how to take care of records, I guess. But I got Going for the One, and I don't mean to talk shit on this album. It's just, I personally don't think it's as good as the previous Yes albums, but it's still a great album. Let's be real. It's a really cool album, and look at that fucking gatefold, man. Jeez. Yes always had great artwork. I think this artwork, to be honest with you, is pretty shit. I don't like it at all. I mean, compare it to a Roger Dean album cover, and Roger Dean did most of the Yes artwork. Compare the two. You know, which one looks like a pop rock album and which one looks like a progressive rock album? You know. But the music, holy shit, the music on this album is really, really good. The title track is awesome. Turn of the Century, Parallels, Wonder Stories, Awaken. Holy fuck, this album is so good. And look at that. Look at that scarf. I just noticed that. That scarf looks really comfortable. I haven't worn a scarf in so long. I have a Death scarf that I got when I was a huge Death stan. I got it from Relapse back probably like 3 years ago at this point, and I wore it to a Black Label Society show, hoping someone would recognize it. No one knew who the fuck Death was at that show. Why am I talking about Death and Black Label Society? Anyways, yes, Going for the One, great album. Don't go into it expecting another Close to the Edge, because you'll probably be disappointed. Don't go into this thinking that you're going to see or hear something that's better than like Relayer. I don't think it is, but it's really, really good, and I wish more people checked it out. Final record. It's not progressive rock, but it's like kind of similar in a way. They're kind of like, they're not the same genre, but they're kind of overlapping in a way. Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior. So this is obviously jazz fusion with the mighty Chick Corea on piano. Chick Corea, very famous jazz pianist, known for his jazz fusion stuff. So Return to Forever is his band. I mean, he had a solo career. I believe he played with I feel like he played with Miles Davis on Bitches Brew, but I could be wrong on that, and I'm just gonna check. Hold on. Okay, I was right. He did play on Bitches Brew, and he played on In a Silent Way and On the Corner, which is awesome because I love all 3 of those albums. And he also passed away recently, which I had in the back of my mind, but I didn't know how recent it was. Turns out it was February, which is really a shame because he was a really brilliant pianist. So yeah, Return to Forever. I think this was left out in the sun, to be completely honest with you, because this cover is not usually this pink. It's usually a lot brighter. But I don't give a shit. I mean, I do, but I kind of don't, because other than the weird kind of discolorization, which I personally like, and the disc ring, which I don't really care about disc rings. I more care about how like the spine looks, and I more care about if it's like scratched up. And obviously I care about how the record plays, which hopefully is good. I got it for $8, so I think it'll be okay. I trust Jerry's Records. They would have put on the sleeve if it was scratched or warped or something, so I think it's pretty good. Hopefully. Anyways, this album is awesome. If you want to get more into jazz fusion and you don't want to just listen to Miles Davis, check out an album like this. Or just check out any of the Return to Forever albums because they're pretty much all good. Medieval Overture, Sorceress, The Romantic Warrior title track, Majestic Dance, The Magician, Duel of the Jester, and The Tyrant. The melodies on this thing just like stick in your head, and I love that about jazz fusion, where you'll just be kind of thinking like, of this really cool lick. You'll have these really long, expansive songs with so many things going on, yet there's certain melodies that stick out, and this album is full of them. So this is a really, really cool album. I definitely recommend it if you want to get more into the jazz fusion genre. And that will do it. So thanks for watching. I hope to, now that I'm home and I'm graduated, I hope to put out videos way more frequently. Like, my goal currently is to do one video a week. That might not be a collection video a week because I'd probably go bankrupt. But I hope to have a video out every week. If you guys want, I want to do more like tier list. I thought that was really, really fun, and I quite enjoyed doing that. Obviously, collection update videos. I'm gonna get a new car soon, and depending on if there's a CD player or a tape deck in there, I'm gonna start collecting tapes and CDs again. I have tapes back there and CDs back there. I don't have much. I collected them only in high school for about a year or so. Actually, pretty much a year. So I don't really have much, but when I get my new car, I want to collect more portable physical media, because if there's one thing, there's two things that I just absolutely love about vinyl. It's the expense and the inconvenience of it all. Just absolutely adore it. So anyways, enough rambling. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.